You probably think you know all German lager beer styles, but this is one that is rarely even talked about outside of Franconia, despite being extremely delicious and highly drinkable. And the bonus is you can drink it year round if you have it available to you. I am talking about the Franconian Rotbier, the beer style that is building the gap between a Munich Helles and a Munich Dunkel. I am taking you onto my full brew day, show you my authentic recipe after living and working here for some breweries in Franconia for the last 2.5 years, and how I brewed it on my Speidel Braumeister. Let's go! I brewed this recipe on my Speidel Braumeister 20. To get started, I tap Start Brewing on the Braumeister display. Then I select the recipe and hit Start Now. At this point, you should already have the water prepared to avoid any issues. The Braumeister immediately begins to heat the water. Speaking of water, here comes a big surprise. As always, a brew day starts with a water profile. And here's the catch, in many parts of Franconia the water is very hard. Here in Nuremberg it is around 16° German hardness. While darker malts pair well with harder water, some breweries use RO or reverse osmosis water. I also opted to run my water through an ion exchanger to get a soft water profile and to blend in some tap water afterwards, which turned out great. Additionally, I added calcium chloride, sodium chloride and calcium sulfate. And after only 30 minutes the water was at temperature to mash in. But how did the grain bill look like? When you're researching online you will find a lot of Rotbier recipes, including one from Weiermann out of Bamberg, but one thing completely struck me. It contains over 29% of specialty malts. One day I went there to try it, and even though it sounds like a lot on paper, the beer didn't taste cloying at all. It was actually a well-balanced beer with a slightly enhanced malty sweetness and a little bit of a fuller body. However, I still wanted something more drinkable and even lighter on the palate for my beer. And that's why I settled on this grain bill. 44% Pilsner malt as well as 44% dark Munich malt from Steinbach from Erlangen. Another 5.4% each of Cara Munich 3 and Best Special X, and my secret sauce 1.3% of pale chocolate malt. This grain bill produced a gorgeous red color and light bready, nutty and toasted aromas. The beer isn't too sweet, it has a light body and it is extremely drinkable and there is almost nothing stopping you from drinking it. Well, okay, except of your spouse maybe. When I'm mashing into the Braumeister, I stir thoroughly to avoid clumps, but I don't take too long so that the temperature doesn't drop significantly. If it does, the great thing about the Braumeister is that the timer for the mash rest only starts once the target temperature is reached. Once all the grain is doughed in, the grain basket will be secured with a cross pipe and a wing nut. Here's an important tip. At first I tightened the wing nut way more than necessary. This caused the grain basket's rubber seal to stick to the bottom whenever I tried to remove the basket after mashing. During the mash rests you can step away and take care of other things. The temperature control on the Braumeister is the best I've ever seen on a brewing system. It just works perfectly and you can trust that everything will go smoothly. It is just awesome. That's why I've often mashed into room temperature water the night before brewing, put all the screens as usual on top, and then used the delayed start function of the Braumeister. The mash will be already done first thing in the morning and all I have to do is sparging, boiling and knocking out the wort. I will explain this incredible convenient feature in a different video. By the way, I created the recipe in Brewfather and exported it as a beer XML file to sync it to the Braumeister via the My Speidel cloud. This works really well now. I just make sure to not rename the file and upload it directly to the cloud. You can find the recipe in the video description. In a true traditional German manner, I've gone for a step mash. Here's the mash schedule I used. 52C or 126F for 5 minutes to generate some FAN and prevent the formation of diacetyl. 64°C or 147 degrees Fahrenheit and 68 Celsius or 154 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes each to increase fermentability, and 75°C or 167 F for 1 minute for a mash out. Mash out doesn't have to be 10 minutes long, it's actually not beneficial. The Braumeister handles this all automatically, and it even does so-called pump breaks. These help to reposition the malt inside of the grain basket, creating new channels for the wort to flow through, which also improves clarity, and you can really see that in the time lapse. Just tried the wort. Color wise it is, I think, pretty much on point. Really happy about it. Of course, there could be some more clarity, but I'm pretty confident that it'll clear up in a bit. I mean, we're still midway in the mashing process, so yeah, it's really nice. There's definitely some bready and very nutty aftertones that I really enjoy. So I think this is going well in a very good direction, and yeah, we'll see how it goes in the next few minutes. For sparging, you simply lift the grain basket onto the frame so the wort can drain into the kettle, allowing you to start heating the wort to a boil in between. Compared to doing brew in a bag, lautering and sparging were quite an adjustment at first. However, it feels so meditative and relaxing, and I've gotten used to it by now. Brewing with the Braumeister is overall a very relaxing experience, and you can really look forward to an enjoyable brew day. After sparging, I moved the grain basket into a bucket, allowing it to drain even more. Cleaning the grain basket is really easy too. I simply move the bucket to our bathtub, remove the top screens and dump the spent grains into the bucket. After that, I spray down the screens and the basket with warm water, and if necessary, brush leftover debris off. In the meantime, the wort is already heating up to a boil, which doesn't take long, roughly for a 6 gallon or 24 liter batch, around 15 to 20 minutes. But let's talk hops for a second. The hop variety I used for this was the classic Perli, or how we say in German, Perle. With 25 IBUs, it balances the sweetness of the malt, while providing pleasant herbal, grassy and even spicy notes to the Rotbier. For the schedule, I also picked a very traditional approach, starting at 60 minutes, 30 minutes and the last edition at 5 minutes. But things are about to go south. Well, this didn't go as planned. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of beer but not a lot of yeast inside, so I guess we have to adapt and pitch some other yeast. Luckily I have some packets of S23. Just try to put it here. Yeah, there we go. In the fridge, so yeah. Let's pitch those. With this configuration of the side glass and the elbow on the Mini Uni Plus, I simply couldn't harvest the yeast. As you can see, the yeast settled nicely at the bottom of the side glass, so when I opened the valve, there was just little yeast coming out as the beer would just flow past to the yeast. Luckily, I now have it all sorted and I don't run into that issue with my current setup anymore. I chilled the wort with my Jaded King Cobra and then transferred it over into the fermenter using an external pump. In the future I plan to try Speidel's pump set again for this step. My Tilt Pro Mini Hydrometer did a great job keeping track of the fermentation. I pitched the yeast at around 8C or 46F and kept the fermentation going between 8 and 9C, that's around 46 to 48 Fahrenheit for the first 3 days, and then slowly increased the temperature to 12C or 54 Fahrenheit. The original gravity was 12 Plato or 1048, and the final gravity was at around 2.8 Plato or 1011 specific gravity points. So once the fermentation was done, all I needed to do is package the beer, and this is how the beer looks now. I'm extremely happy how this Rotbier turned out because it's reminiscent of the commercial examples from Nuremberg and the surroundings. It has a really nice malty backbone without sacrificing drinkability. It is complex but still can be enjoyed in quantity. Also the head retention is just amazing. I really enjoy drinking this beer in the colder seasons, but even during the summer you can crush a couple of those easily. So I guess now it is your turn to get the ingredients and start brewing, and believe me, you won't regret it because this is such an extremely easily drinkable style that your friends and your family will also love it as much as you and I did. And while I mentioned the upgrade that I did for the Brew Tools Mini Uni Plus, there are even more upgrades that are even more huge that you can check out here.